Hello, Think Keto family. Welcome back. It's great having you with me today. I hope you brought your sweet tooth because today we're making coconut chocolate bark. It is so delicious. If this is your first time with me, don't forget to subscribe down below and hit the bell icon so you don't miss upcoming videos. Let's get started, guys. Alright guys, so here we are. As a reminder before we get started, everything I'm using today is going to be listed down in the description below, and then at the very end is going to be a nutritional breakdown for this recipe's macro content so you know what to expect when eating it. And I do apologize ahead of time for my cooktops fan. I've had a complaint or two about it. I am looking for a quieter one, but that's easier said than done when you're on a budget. So I am sorry. I'm trying to position my microphone a little bit better so you don't hear it as loudly, okay? Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to heat up. Alright, we're going to give that just a second to get warm on medium to low heat. You don't want this too high. Now what I did is the first time I made this recipe, I followed the ingredients exactly, and I made a rather small amount, about enough for an 8x8 pan, and my family loves our chocolate, so we wanted more than that. So basically what I did is I doubled this recipe. My daughter actually picked it out of one of my cookbooks, and I'm like, that sounds good. But I wasn't sure. Oh, it came out so delicious. I think we wiped out the entire batch in like one day. Alright guys, so we're going to start off with 4 tablespoons of coconut oil here, whatever your brand of choice is. So we're going to let that melt down. Coconut oil melts so fast that this will only take a hot second. Alright, that coconut oil has melted beautifully. Next we got a cup of unsweetened coconut flakes. And I don't know how things are where you live, but I went to the grocery store today to get some more unsweetened flakes that didn't have enough. And with the whole COVID-19 mad rush to empty out the grocery stores, there was nothing but a whole 2 rows of sweetened coconut flakes. I had to go to several different stores to find the unsweetened. So just as a note, in the next couple weeks until things die down in the grocery stores and stock back up, I'm not sure how my videos are going to work. I'm going to kind of have to go with what I have on hand. I'm going to do the best I can for you guys to bring you the best recipes possible though, okay? So I got the 1 cup of unsweetened coconut shreds. We're going to put them in the oil, and then we're going to lightly toast these. You don't want them to burn, so you're going to pretty consistently keep them moving. And you'll notice they're going to start to lightly brown, and that's what you want. Once they all get that pretty nice lightly golden brown color, you know you're done. So this takes just a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes tops, depending on how high you got your heat. Be careful not to burn it though. Alright, so that's pretty consistently got that nice light golden color to it. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our sweetener. Your sweetener of choice, of course, it's a half a cup's worth, but keep in mind that some sweeteners sweeten a little bit differently, so yours might need a little bit more, a little bit less, depending. I'm using granular monk fruit. That's my preferred sweetener of choice, but again, use what you prefer in this. I'm going to add this to it and mix it up to kind of incorporate it and get those granules melted down. Alright, that's where we want it. So what we do now is we'll get this turned off, and then we'll remove this from the heat. Now this is where you can really make this recipe your own. This is where we get to put the chocolate in. You can use whatever chocolate your heart desires. Of course, I recommend the sugar-free brands. Lily's is my personal favorite, but you can use whatever you like to use. Last time I made this, our family loves dark chocolate, so I actually used some 100% unsweetened dark chocolate, and then mix that with some of Lily's dark chocolate, but it was the 55% dark chocolate. So it was a really great balance. It wasn't too dark and too bitter. It gave it a little bit of sweetness but that wonderful dark chocolate flavor. But I'm trying to go for something a little bit different today. So while I was at the grocery store, they did have chocolate. Yay, life is good. But I got the Lily's salted almond milk chocolate style, and I thought that the almonds would actually do really good and complement the flavors of the coconut. So 1 bar of this, I chopped it up with a knife, and it came out to be 3/4 of a cup, which isn't quite enough. I needed a whole cup. But I was skimping a little bit, and I didn't want to break another package for that. So what I did is I just had some Lily's, semi-sweet baking chips in there already open. So I filled the rest of the cup up with that. So that's what I have in here: a 1/4 cup of the semi-sweet baking chips, and then a whole bar of the salted almond milk chocolate. Oh, sounds good. So what we're going to do is we'll put this in here, mix it up, and it's going to melt in the heat of the pan. I know this sounds like it's going to be atrocious to have to clean up afterwards, but after I let this pan soak for a couple minutes in some soapy water, it actually can clean pretty easily, so don't stress that. Alright guys, the chocolate is all melted in. I already have a baking sheet lined with parchment paper here. So my baking sheet's a 10 by 15 baking sheet. I find this doesn't quite go far enough to fill it, but you want this nice and thin to give that crispy bark texture, so, or the crunchiness. So if you go any smaller, it might be a little bit too thick if you're doing this recipe the size I am. Just keep in mind, you can half this recipe, you can double this recipe. It is a very easy numbers recipe to mess with like that. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to flatten this out with the back of the spatula. It takes just a little bit of work, but it does work. And there's one other thing I wanted to try with this, see if it would make my life easier, is before putting it in the freezer to solidify, and seeing if I can score it now with the pizza cutter. Kind of like I do, if you see any of my other chip videos when I make the little Cheez-Its or the herb crackers, and that's how I do with that to make separating it easier after it hardens. So I'm going to try that with this and see how it works. Well, that worked a little bit, but it's already starting to harden up, so it's hard to get through there. Alright, next step is we're going to put this in the freezer for 10 minutes. It'll finish hardening up, and then we'll see what it looks like afterwards, guys. I'll see y'all back in 10 minutes. Alright guys, so those were in the freezer for about 15 minutes. I got caught up washing dishes and doing some other stuff, and so they stayed in for an extra 5 minutes, but didn't hurt them at all. And I'm sorry that you didn't get to see me breaking them apart. I was going to town talking to you, and I looked up and I realized I didn't have a little red dot on there, so I wasn't recording, and I do apologize. But scoring with the pizza cutter did work. These popped apart relatively easily in nice clean lines. Alternatively, you can just core the top of it with a knife afterwards, and it'll still break apart just the same. Now, as a note, one thing I forgot to take into consideration when changing the types of chocolate, as the dark chocolate is rather unsweet, and so the half cup of sweetener that I used was quite appropriate for that. It tasted really good. But this time, by using the milk chocolate, it was really too sweet. So I should have cut that sweetness down by at least half, if not more. They do a good job of sweetening their bars plenty enough. I shouldn't try to add that much sweetener to it. Keep that in mind when you make yours. Just evaluate what type of chocolate you're using versus what sweetness it has and how much sweetener you need to add, if any at all. Alright guys, I hope this video is helpful to you. Please remember to give me a thumbs up down below and share this with anyone that you know can use a really great recipe for some chocolate. Until next time guys, bye!